Rowe, what's up?
Oh, I'm just here to fix everything, Kennedy. What can I do for you?
That is absolutely right, my friend. So my favorite thing about you is that you are a solution and systems-oriented person. And you look at these the problems and the devastation in the wake of these massive storms, and someone's going to have to fix them. And that speaks to the heart of your personal cause that you've been talking about for years. How can we speed up this process and help people rebuild?
Well, look, I'm also not beyond saying I told you so. I hate to do it, but for 10 years now, my little foundation has been saying this is a math problem. It's also a PR problem. But mathematically, for instance, last month before Houston, there were 267,000 openings in the construction trades. That number's about to double. After the Florida thing, I think it's, what, triple, maybe?
Wow.
Throw in Puerto Rico. It's just math. The skilled tradespeople who are going to rebuild these cities and these countries are not in these cities and countries right now. They have to come from somewhere else. So they're going to come from different parts of America, creating even larger deficits from the areas which they vacate to go do the work. We have ignored a big chunk of our workforce for about 40 years. And by ignore it, I don't mean we've deliberately derided them. I just mean we haven't made a persuasive case and shown kids the many benefits
I think you're right. And in that regard, it's a marketing problem, because you have parents who've got high schoolers and they're thinking, you know, where am I going to send my kid to college? Maybe their child wouldn't do well in college. And, you know, there are vast entire sectors that pay really good money. And you get to those jobs and you get to that money a lot quicker than you would going the traditional college route, which doesn't leave you illiterate. It leaves you flush with cash. Am I right?
Well, look, it's easy to talk in cookie cutter terms. This path for the most people, this path for this group. That doesn't work. But in general terms, you know, you can't deny the numbers. 6.2 million jobs are available right now, 75% of which don't require a 4-year degree. And yet, $1.3 trillion in student loans are currently on the books.
Yeah.
We still tell people in a very general way the best path for everyone is the most expensive path. So it's not just dumb on the front end financially. The unintended consequence of that, after 4 decades of it, are real shortages in the kinds of vocations that make the workforce healthy and balanced.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
the problem.
also,
and it takes a disaster to prove it sometimes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this disaster has proven itself 4 times over with these different storms in different areas, which will, I mean, they literally need to be rebuilt. They literally need people to work with their hands, people with skills. You are begging people to take your money to go and get those skills, but you're also doing a great show on Facebook. It's a new show called Returning the Favor, and I want to show a quick clip right now. Watch.
So the crew and I are back on the road, searching America for bloody do-gooders. People who are slightly better than us, doing nice things for their community in a completely selfless way. It's pretty simple. We find them, we meet them, and then we surprise them.
Oh, that's so great. How's the response been?
It's a feel-good hit of the summer, Kennedy. It's crazy. The first episode went up 3.5 weeks ago. Better than it. We got 22 million views on the first episode. Look, I'm not a genius, but I can look in my news feed and I can look on cable news with great respect and say the country feels bad. The country has just been exposed to a relentless parade of horribles. Just bad news after bad news. There's still some decent people. You'll see them in the wake of these
we saw them.
disasters.
Yeah, and after Hurricane Harvey, and you also realize that people have an appetite for the heroes that are living among them, and people who will reach out and help them if, God forbid, the same thing would happen to them.
Well, sure, but look, beyond that, our state of mind collectively is a function of what we look at. And if all we look at is pain and protest and divisiveness, eventually we're just going to feel awful. It's not about putting your head in the sand and ignoring the news, but don't ignore the good news going on in your own zip code. It's there. This show finds it. It's on Facebook. People dig it. I'm happy.
Mike Rowe, thanks so much. Appreciate it.